Hello and welcome student. Today we will be learning a new lesson from how we came to be environmental studies part 2. So in our previous lesson we learned about how houses built in different stages. As we know, during Stone Age, the earth was totally covered with ice and it also known as glaciers. Period. As the climate was extremely cold and dry. From 18 lakhs to 11,000 years ago, there have been four major cycles of glacier and interglacier periods. About 11,000 years ago, the last glacier period came to an end and the current interglacier period began. The climate started to become warmer and more humid again. Agriculture and the new Stone Age also begin at the same time. So, in this lesson, we will learn how man starts beginning his settled life, how it helps him to live in group and cultivates crops. So, let's see our learning objectives in our next slide. Learning objectives from our module 1. So, in this module, student, we are going to learn all this point. First, beginning of domestications of animals and agriculture. 3 steps in domestication. The dog was the first animal used as domestication. Agriculture was started in Israel and Iraq. Pointed stick and perforated stone used for sowing. In village settlement, humans started to establish some rules and customs. So, now in this module, let's me ask you a question. Nowadays, what farmer used to plow the field? Yes, they use tractors. But in olden days, these tools were not available. So, man took the help from animals. You can see in our slide. With the help of from animals, he plowed the field. So, in the same way, in Neolithic means New Stone Age period, human used to domesticate animals like the dog, goat, sheep, cattle, buffaloes, etc., which were very useful to them in many ways. All these animals you can see in our slide how they are helping the human beings. And you can see how the humans storing the crops, cultivating the crops and everything. The New Stone Age period learn to domesticate means tame the animals. Here, student, tame means giving training to animals how to work. So, student, these laid a constant food for the people. How? Now, dogs hunted small animals because dog was trained by man in such a way that they used to hunt for them. Animals carrying heavy objects. For going from this place to another place, man used to take the help of the animals and they used to carry the heavy objects on their backs. So, in this way, animals used to carry the objects from one place to another. Use chickens for eggs. Now, here animals were giving means helping the human being in food. Use sheep for wools. So, with the help of the wools, they make the clothes for protecting themselves from ice, wind, etc. Use goat for milk. So, with the help of the milk, they used to make curd, dahi, etc. So, all these animals were very useful in for human being. So, for them, they used to train them. Steps in domestications of animals. So, first of all, they used to capture of the wild animals, means they supposed to capture the animals, means here we will learn the step in domestication, means how the man used to train the animals for crop and cultivations. Humans started giving training to animals to work as beasts of burden. They domesticated animal for physical labor, for farming. Possibly the milk and meat added variety to the human diet. The animals in New Stone Age were wild. So because they were not knowing how to plough the field. So the man used to train them. According to archaeologists, the dog was the first domesticated animal because dogs hunted small animals. Men also obtained milk, eggs, meats from them. You can see in the slide that how they are using the animal for ploughing the field. Neolithic age means New Stone Age. Dog was the first animal used for domestications in Middle Stone Age. Students, you can see how the dog is hunting the animal for man. They were trained in such a way that they could hunt the animals. They also used other animals too for their domestication, such as goat, buffalo, and sheep. You can see in our slide that how these animals are useful to human being. Let's see the difference between a modern bull and the wild bull. You can see on our slide. So let's see first wild bull. A powerful animal whose strength is primarily in its horns. The animal referred to, the Bos primigenius, is called the Akkadian, that is Rimu, and was an extremely powerful animal which is depicted in many Assyrian hunting scenes. Modern bull. The hair is generally shorter on the body, but the neck was headed, often have a mane of curlier woolly hair. Bulls are usually about the same height as cows or a little taller, but because of the additional muscles and bone mass, they often weigh far more. Most of the time, a bull has a hump on his shoulder. You can see the difference between the modern bull and the wild bull in your picture. Neolithic Revolution, that is New Stone Age. When we think of the Neolithic era, it is an example of the cultural advances, the most important development in human history. The way we live today, settle in home, close to other people in towns and cities, eating food grown as farms and with leisure. time to learn, explore. All these inventions were in Neolithic revolution. The revolution which led the way to the development technology to grow plant and harvest crops and to domesticate animals. You can see in our slide how the human being is domesticating the animals in the field. Agriculture revolution, the time when human begins first domesticated plants and animals and no longer rely entirely on hunting and gathering. So, in this agriculture revolution was also called the Neolithic revolution. This age marked the transition in human history from small nomadic band of hunting gathers to larger agriculture settlement, making an increasing large population possible. This new knowledge led to the domestication of plants and animals. Students, do you know where first agriculture began? No. Let me explain you. According to the archaeologists, the earliest farmer lived in the Fertile Crescent region in the Middle East, including modern day Iraq, Jordan, Israel, Iran, Turkey, etc. You can see this in our map. Scientists had long assumed these early farmers were a homogeneous group that did trade and also intermingled. Farming was long believed to have been started by one group of ancestral humans. About 11,500 years ago, people learned how to grow cereal and root crops and settled down to a life based on farming. Women also helped in cultivating the crops in field, which were more nutritious. You can see on our slide how women is also helping man in cultivation the field. Settled people change their way of life. Like their Paleolithic ancestors, early farmers divided up the work by gender and age. So, people changed their way of life as they started to settle on one place. They also divide the work according to gender and age. In settled farming community, men came to dominate family, economic and political life. So, important differences begin to emerge. You can see how the men and women both they are working in the field. For agriculture, women started using pointed stick which was perforated stone, means making small hole with the help of this stone. So, women used to penetrate means to dig the earth. Women used pointed stick to sow seeds. It helped them to dig deeper into the soil. The stick was weighted. For plowing the field, animals were also used later, which increased the production of food grains. Means when men started taking the help of animals, it was increase in the production of food grains. You can see how the man is using bullock in his field, and also you can see on our slide that how the woman is using perforated stick for digging the earth. The people carried out activities like farming, herding, gathering, fishing in group. The tribe jointly owned natural wealth such as land, forest, water sources, etc. There was no inequality. You can see in our slide how the man and woman they are working together in the field. People learn to stay because of farming at one place. The natural environment like heat, rain, wind and condition of the soil contribute to the growth of crops. This kind of farming method involves hard work and farmers traveling from place to place with their flock of animals. Farming allowed people to stay one place, which meant they were able to farm, cultivating crops, and domesticate animals for their own use. Men also developed systems of irrigation, a calendar, plough, and metal production tools, etc. This increase in cereals means when they started taking the help from animals, the production of food grains was increased. You can see how the woman is helping in cultivation or you can say the growing crops. In Neolithic age, agriculture became main source of livelihood as men stopped hunting the animals as they were totally dependent on farming. For good growth of crops, people used to worship nature such as sun, rain, wind, sea, etc. For irrigation, they shared the agriculture tasks and also water resources. Because of all these things, they gain importance toward each other and settle a security in village settlements. So, on your slide, you can see how the human, means the man, is praying to God for the good crops and also how the women's and children's they are helping means doing the cultivation. As they settle in one place, human shared or you can say men shared their cash crops and also started doing trades means doing business. So they established some rules and customs in the society or in village. Because of rules and customs, agriculture came into existence. They started social gathering and events. So you can see how is there in our slide social gathering, customs, etc. Let's do a quick recap of our module 1. So, in this module, we learn about how humans started using domestications of animals. The first animal used by human was dog. Steps in the domestication of a species of any animals. How women started to cultivation. Agricultural productions increase because of animal use. People begin to worship nature and various deities for good crops. So student, all this we learn in our module 1. Let's do a evaluation part of our module 1. Fill in the blanks. The dash is the first animal to have been domesticated. Answer: dog. As shown by archaeological evidence, agriculture first began 11,000 years ago in dash and dash. Answer: Israel and Iraq. Dash are credited to have started cultivation. Answer: women. People in the village settlements established some dash and dash to manage things. Answer: rules and customs. Say true or false. Domesticating animals and keeping them for one use is called animal husbandry. Answer: true. Agricultural production decreased when animals came into use. Answer: false. People began to worship animals and various pots to grow crops. Answer: false. Initial things like sharing of agricultural tasks and water resources make village settlements. Answer: true. Answer in brief. What are the three main steps in the process of domesticating a wild animal? Answer: there were three main steps in the process of domesticating a species of any animals. First, capture of the wild animals. Second, taming means training the captured animal, that is training them to live with humans. Third, obtaining useful materials like milk, etc. from them and training them to work for humans as beast or burden. When the third step is achieved, the animal is supposed to be completely domesticated. Second, how did a social system based on agriculture came into existence? Answer: initial things like sharing of agriculture tasks and water resources and the security of the village settlement gain importance. People in the village settlement establish some rules and customs to manage these things. Thus, a social system based on agriculture came into existence. Give reason. The stick used for sowing and weight in the center using a perforated stone. Answer: in order to dig deeper into the soil to sow the seed, the stick was weighted in the center using as a perforated stone. Second, people began to worship nature and various deities. Answer: agriculture became the main source of livelihood in the New Stone Age period. Thus, people began to worship nature and various deities such as rain, sun, wind, sea, etc. for good crops. Thank you, student.